We're live on Facebook.
Good.
Good morning, everybody. We're not live on the radio yet, but we are live on Facebook.
Cool.
No pressure. Good morning, everybody. Look, I'm talking into the microphone like it affects Facebook. It has nothing to do with Facebook.
Practicing.
Exactly. Get my game face on.
Yes.
There's our intro music.
Almost there.
The
20 more
chair that,
seconds.
like makes much noise. All right, we're hanging out. Benny will give us the ready, set, go here in just a second. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 425 Show, your place to be for all things real estate and lifestyle related here on the East Side. I'm your host, Nicole Mangina with Windermere Real Estate. Each week, we bring you the most up-to-date news in the real estate market and introduce you to an amazing business and or event that makes this such an amazing place to live, because buying and selling houses is about so much more than bedrooms and baths. Good news on the real estate front, the numbers for October are out. Sales, the number of properties sold is up 14% over October of last year, which is good. Prices are about the same. Some are a little up, some are a little down, but I think it's really great that the number of sales are up. What that tells us is buyers are feeling confident in the market and sellers are having luck getting their property sold, which is good news for everybody. If you have questions about the real estate market and how it might apply to whatever it is you're looking at doing, you can always find me via email, nicole@nicolemangina.com. One of the things I love about this area is we've got a lot of great businesses on the East Side, locally owned businesses, actually in the whole Seattle area, that are phenomenal at what they do, but really committed to and integrated in the community as a whole. And our guests today are that and then some. So we've got Deborah and Jeremy here with Kirkland Life Chiropractic. How are you? Thanks for being here this morning.
It's a great morning.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk to you. And we were talking before the show. I thought about you guys last night. How about those Seahawks?
Unreal.
Oh my goodness. Amazing game.
Woo! Yeah!
Woohoo! I know.
Sorry, I had to put a little more punch in there.
I know. It was a big game. We watched the game last night with some 49er fans.
Oh! That would have been awesome.
It was great, actually. There was a lot of good-natured cheering both directions yesterday. But we were talking about it before. I think it was in the fourth quarter. There was that 49er guy who took a hit. I think his own guy hit him.
Yeah.
And it hit him, you could just watch his spine. The only thing I could think in that moment was, that guy needs a chiropractor. He is not getting out of bed without some serious pain today. So
there's a few of those guys.
Yeah, there were a lot of injuries last night, a lot of rough things. But you don't have to take a hit from an NFL player to benefit from chiropractic.
No,
So-
there's a lot of stuff that's self-induced that's even worse. So
Yeah,
we see a lot of it. Especially texting is probably the biggest thing that we're dealing with nowadays.
oh, I bet, yes, for sure.
Just poor posture.
Yeah, awesome. How did you guys get started with the clinic? I know.
Well, I moved up here and built a clinic in Bellevue
Okay.
for a couple years, and then was done with that. We won't talk about why or how.
For the record, we love Bellevue.
From Southern California, was just the relationship. Anyway,
Yeah.
and then opened a clinic in Kirkland.
Yeah.
And Dr. Jeremy joined me a year later, and we've been doing this together now for 20 years. The clinic just celebrated 20 years in business
Woo, woo.
in
That's
September.
great. Congratulations.
Yeah, in Kirkland.
How did you get involved in chiropractic? It's an interesting thing, right? Some people, I am a huge believer in chiropractic. I think it's amazing, but I think there's a lot of people out there like, I don't know about this whole chiropractor thing. So I'm curious how you got involved in it.
Well,
For both of
chiropractic
you.
saved me from back surgery
Really?
at 15 years old.
Wow.
So thanks to my mom and dad for having an open mind,
Mm-hmm.
and the principal at my high school at the time for recommending me to try, or to my mom to have me have chiropractic before back surgery. And she was
Great.
open enough to do it, and here I am, and I knew at 16 I would be a chiropractor.
Really?
So I had my career path
Changed your
early
life.
on, changed my life.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Very cool.
I was
How about you,
lucky enough.
Jeremy?
I had headaches, and
Oh, yeah.
I was studying one night with this girl, and we were studying for chemistry, and I got one of my headaches that just ends it, right? Go
Sure.
home, go to bed kind of thing.
Mhm.
And she's like, hey, I can get my dad to adjust you. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm not sure. Anyway, he adjusted me, and within 2 or 3 minutes, my headache was gone. And I probably didn't have one for 3 years after that. It was just,
Really? Just off of one adjustment?
Yep, absolutely changed my life.
Wow.
And so then, yeah, I was going to be an eye doctor, actually. I was on my way to school and just did a 180 and went in a different direction. And the funny part is Deborah actually hired me to work for somebody else at a different clinic. And then it was just one of those things. We had a good relationship early on. We got along really well. So
That's great.
that's what took me there with her.
That's
And-
yeah.
and-
You can tell you guys.
And
have a
then
good
I
dynamic.
hired his wife,
That's right.
who wasn't his wife yet,
Yeah.
so he does owe me. And now he
Yes.
has 2 amazing children.
Forever.
Oh,
We're-
I didn't
We're a
know
big
that
family
part.
business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, basically everything great in my life started about 20 years ago when I met Deborah. That's literally it. It's pretty great. Everything that's great in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fast forward to a few years ago, and I'll age us greatly.
Oh yeah.
An amazing team of chiropractors, husband and wife team, joined us, and she played basketball in high school with our daughter.
Oh my goodness.
So that's how old I am now. That's how long the clinic's been around, that our kids' friends can now be doctors, and they have their own child, so we're a big family office, and that, yeah.
That's when you know you've built something great, though. When it's a full circle, fully
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's great.
Great place to go every morning,
Yeah, for sure.
for sure.
Excuse me, I swallowed wrong. I was like, oh, about to cough there. So I love that you both had such profound personal stories. I think it's pretty interesting that you're a principal. I'm just because I don't think you can do that these days. I don't think
Probably
principals
not.
can give out medical advice.
And full circle, he retired to a little lake in North Idaho that we visit, and I had my mom out there, and we got to see him, and I got to thank him.
Oh,
I got to tell him
that's
he
beautiful.
changed my life.
That's pretty special. Which
Yeah.
lake?
Lake Ponderay in
Oh yeah,
North Idaho.
my dad lives in
Yeah.
Sandpoint. We're
Yeah.
over there a lot.
Okay.
It's not that little, by the way.
Yeah.
Ponderay's a huge lake, but it was beautiful over
We'll
there.
talk about Sandpoint off camera.
Another. Okay, perfect.
It's our heart there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. Okay, back to chiropractic. So you guys have this amazing business that you've built, but you serve so many people in the community, and you do make a huge difference in people's lives. There's nothing worse than that. I get headaches too, and chiropractic is my thing as well. That debilitating pain of how am I going to function, and when you find that thing that helps, it's life changing for sure. You do a lot of different things at your clinic. It's the chiropractic, but you really look at it from a holistic standpoint and have a lot of different services there, I think, don't you?
It is interesting how we stay to the principles of just spine and like anything joint related.
Right.
But we do have like the other doctors in the office have some more advanced like muscle work stuff that they do.
Sure.
But again, it all comes back to the foundation of the spine and the appendicular skeleton, and that's kind of our focus. I think that the best thing about what Deborah and I have done is stay true to the things that we're good at, and that
Sure.
is, and again, in every business, if they do that, they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
And it's like, I see my friends, they do 25 massage therapists and acupuncturists, they do this medication or this supplement or CBD is a big thing now.
It sure
But
is.
by us staying on task, it really helps people get a good direction, because we can help them find those other things, but it's not something that we necessarily want to distract ourselves with at that point.
I think that's huge. It always makes me a little nervous when every time I walk into some place
Something
they've
new.
got something new.
A new gimmick or a new game, and that's
Yeah.
that's not us. That's
We
just
do have a really great massage
we do,
therapist.
yes.
Sure.
And then, of course, Dr. Ross and Dr. Stephanie Benz, a little shout out. But we don't sell patients things.
Which is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. What are some of the most common things that people come in for that
Well,
they benefit from chiropractic with?
Again, I'm a real. If you got a spine, I can help you. So we go cradle to grave pretty much. But the biggest things right now that we're seeing, the trend I'm seeing is, cervical curve loss for these kids. Like, we got these kids on devices. We got students in school that are on computers. Posture's horrible. For the first time in my career, I've referred, 17, 16, 15-year-old kids for surgical consults because their necks are degenerating.
Oh my
They're not
goodness.
even fully developed.
Is
And
that
it's
from,
because
that's
they're
got to be
just-
from more than just devices.
No,
or-
it's devices. They spend
Really?
hours. Think about it. You spend more time with your head down looking
Yeah.
at something than you ever do in a good posture.
Interesting.
And it's awful. kids coming in, and
It's common.
it's an addiction too, because when you're standing there giving a report to a kid about what's going on with his mom, and they're sitting there, and the kid's texting all of his friends, looking down at a phone while you're explaining what his problem is.
Right.
It's an addiction, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be really horrible in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm keyed in on now, is trying to educate people on restoring that, especially these kids that aren't even fully developed.
Well, and it's good to be reminded of it, because as a parent we know it's not the right thing to do, but you see how it actually manifests.
You see the degenerative changes in a 40-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's awful.
Yeah.
So before they've had a chance. And then again, and broad spectrum. I mean, I've worked with professional athletes for years. We do a lot of like we were talking about with the Seahawks. People that are out there, weekend warriors. It is funny though. As you've been in practice longer and longer, you start to see, it's time for power washing. It's going to be busy. It's leaf raking time. It's going to be busy.
That's
the
funny.
Christmas stress is pretty crazy.
For
so,
sure.
Again, that's experience points. You just know it's all coming. But again, we help everybody. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and I think it's great, even to come in when something's not wrong, but just as a normal protocol. I know we do that. And even our kids, especially with their sports, right? Their baseball, that batting, is fairly violent motion on your body.
It's a hemiballistic motion. It's one direction. It's explosive.
Yeah.
And again, you're training them. The thing that's happening more and more in sports now, and I love the sports stuff. I've worked with pro athletes for years, but what I'm seeing is these kids are becoming more and more specialized, and so they're not just doing like batting or golfing or tennis or football once in a while, and then transitioning to the next sport. I mean, I've got kids that are playing baseball. They are playing baseball 11 months of the year. Like
we do in our house. Yeah.
And I've got kids that are gymnasts. They're doing it, 5 to 6 times a week, 2 hours a day. Dancers 2 to 3 times, a week, for 2 or 3 hours. It's amazing what we're putting on these kids, and the expectation for the body to be able to withstand that, it doesn't jive.
Yeah.
And I talk to the pro football players that I know, and it's like they didn't do that.
No.
I mean, I got guys that played their first football in college.
Right.
And now they're in the NFL. Well, they're gifted athletes, but they also have this spectrum of sport that they've done over their lives that's made them into that well-rounded, athlete.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's pretty powerful.
It is. One of the things that I think has been interesting to watch with our boys too, and I think is a benefit, when you start them on something like chiropractic early, they get to know their bodies better.
Absolutely.
Because they will come and tell me, hey, I need to go see somebody. Like, I'm out of whack.
We had one of our clients from years back. I remember him telling me something. He said that when he was when he's in college, it's like they have everybody there. They have doctors, they have massage therapists, and it's all supplied by the schools. He goes, then you graduate, you get to the NFL. He goes, it's $40,000-$50,000 a year to have your trainer, your nutritionist, your doctors, the massage people that follow you. And he said because when he was young, his parents really taught him how to do that stuff. It made a difference for him when he was trying to find stuff later on. He said, you can see these guys that are breaking down early. They don't have that.
Yeah.
They just don't know that. As far as they're concerned, they're bulletproof until they're not, right?
Right.
And so having that cognition and teaching your kids that is monumental. It really is.
Yeah.
And
it's
it translates,
cool.
right?
Well, and definitely investing in your own health is really important.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to sell them on the yoga thing. They're not really buying that right now.
And I think it's one of the more important things, because we spend our entire lives shortening muscle groups, and then we can't figure out when we're 70 years old or 50 years old, and our bodies start, where we have lost the flexibility. We're not walking normally. We can't sit for long periods of time. That's where it comes from.
For sure. Well, our 12-year-old can't touch his toes.
Exactly. That's horrible.
I know.
That is classic hamstring issue.
So we're working on that, but he will go do like a chiropractor, so at least we've got him doing something, and at least
Need to have him get some tempering from Dr. Ross.
There you go. Okay. I know. I was looking at that online.
Yeah,
That looks
it's
pretty
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, he's 12. I think in another year or two, maybe he'll get a girlfriend, and maybe she'll be into yoga. A lot of things get solved that way too.
The influence
Right.
of the friends, yes.
Absolutely. So like you said, people come in with all kinds of different things.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And I bet that's funny. I bet you can kind of track the seasons or kind of what's going on based on what you see.
We had a patient for years see us only in December, and she was because of wrapping paper, Christmas wrapping paper neck.
Oh,
she called
how
it.
funny.
And she had her own diagnosis, and every Christmas, and yeah.
That's
Sure.
hysterical.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest changes that you see in people after they've been with you for a while? I mean, I'm sure range of motion, flexibility.
Those aren't even big ones.
Yeah, no?
Immune system.
Yeah.
Oh,
Patients
isn't that
say,
interesting?
we don't get sick anymore. Our families, everybody's sick around us, and we're not getting the colds. We're not getting the flus. Like, they're just overall healthier.
Really?
And so that's, I think, the
What
most
do you think
important
that's
part.
about?
I think
of
my
chiropractic.
favorite way to explain it was if you think about the human body, like every cell in your body
Mhm.
replicates itself over and over again. There's
Sure.
only a few tissues, your nervous system,
Mhm.
your cornea, your enamel, your teeth, they don't replicate. So, but if you look at the rest of the tissues, they all replicate. The
Sure.
brain mitigates that replication, right?
Mhm.
And so if there is no interference in the nervous system, then that replication process is done more precisely with better results. And so as patients go through those 3 to 4 month cycles where their body's replicating
Mhm.
and it's at a better level, a higher level
Sure.
of healing or more consistent replication,
Mhm.
they get healthier. And over
Interesting.
time, that manifests as an outward expression of being healthier. And so the immune system functions better, they're able to perform at a higher level, they sleep better, resistance to getting sick, that kind of stuff. It's
And that's amazing, because
it
those
is.
aren't things you would normally, I'm assuming that's not necessarily why people come to you.
No.
No.
But lots of awesome benefits that
Yeah.
come from that.
We don't
I-
even talk about it, just watch it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fascinating. If you're just tuning in today, we have Dr. Deborah and Dr. Jeremy on the show with us with Kirkland Life Chiropractic. You guys are amazing, everybody, and you're so conveniently located in the Bridle Trails area. So really, anywhere in the 425, you're pretty
Yeah.
convenient to get to.
Yeah, we have patients
guys-
come from all over the place. I have a patient that comes over from Bainbridge Island.
Really.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
Well, I do. Chiropractic is. I'm a huge believer in it, but I also really believe you got to kind of find your person.
You do.
Yep.
You know, and so once you find your person, you travel for them or do
Yeah.
whatever you need, because it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And you guys are really involved in the community as well.
Yes, that's, so we don't do any like real advertising. We're
Right.
basically a referral
Mhm.
practice. We've just tried to give back in the community,
Mhm.
and then that community gives back to us, and
Sure.
just by word of mouth and referrals. So we recently, Dr. Jeremy and Sarah, his wife,
Mhm.
our office manager, took a board position on the Kirkland Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, great!
And so doing that, we're very
Such an
involved in the
amazing
Kirkland
organization.
Downtown Association
Mhm.
and helping them and to raise money and awareness that the Kirkland Downtown Association
Mhm.
pays for everything amazing in Kirkland, not the
They
city so
do.
much. So really involved if, we need to raise money to do the fireworks or have the
Mhm.
wine walks or, the 4th of July parade. I mean, all of that stuff doesn't
even all
happen.
the holiday lights that are
Yes,
going to happen
by
here in a couple
itself.
weeks. That's all
So
part
trying,
of the association.
our clinic sponsored them this year with the donation and then volunteering. So
Mhm.
there's two hands to it. They need money and they need people. So
Yeah.
we try to do a little of both and get
That's great.
our team involved at the clinic.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're involved on a lot of boards and things as well, I think.
Not so many boards, just a lot of fundraisers
Okay.
and community outreach and different things. So far left the boards beside the Kirkland Boys and Girls Club
Mhm.
to my husband. So,
Yeah.
we'll see.
You guys are busy people.
Yeah.
And the Boys and Girls Club is a great organization.
It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, they've got a neat group. We've been involved with them for a long time as well, and it's pretty special what they do for the community. Just the Boys and Girls Club in Kirkland, but I think anywhere there's a Boys and Girls Club, what they do for the community is phenomenal.
Yeah, and again, it's a reinvestment in these kids.
Mhm.
I mean, their parents are so busy. It's just they need something. They need,
Yeah.
I have a soft spot in my heart for these kids because you see them, all their struggles and where do they turn? What do they got that's going to help them get to the next level? Because
Mhm.
mom and dad are too busy most of the time, and or sports get in the way or whatever.
Right.
So seeing a place for them to go where they can, have a foundation.
Yeah, it's so important. It's interesting. A couple of weeks ago, there was the Hope Link lunch, and we went to that, and it was amazing. But one of the things, for whatever reason, it just hit home more than it ever has before. That whole, not everybody starts out with the same
No.
playing field, right? It is not a level playing field with just the experiences that kids have growing up in the environments that they're in. And so for there to be something in the area that can be that for kids, because sometimes you don't get it at home, A lot of kids do, but a lot don't. And for there to be that in the community, I think it's
And
pretty
you-
special.
Yeah, and you can have it at home, and then also need different
That's
people
right.
and a different set of
Influences.
influencers,
Yes.
like favorite aunties or a teacher you go
Yes.
to, or maybe somebody at the Boys and Girls Club or a counselor that they might give you a perspective. You might want to tell them something you don't want to tell your
That's
parents.
true.
So
Yeah.
having a team of people, I think, is important for all of
It
these
does
kids.
take a village for
Yeah,
sure. Because
absolutely.
you're right.
The other thing with Kirkland Boys and Girls Club is the people that we've met, the
Mhm.
diversity of their backgrounds. It's priceless how different everybody is.
Yes.
And I think, because, Deborah's husband and I have talked about this, it's like, you're trying to help your kid decide what he wants to do for the rest of his life.
Mhm.
Well, I can only give him my experiences. And
Right.
like Eric said, he's like, he needs to spend some time doing this and look at this and go
Mhm.
meet this person and do this. And I think that the Boys and Girls Club offers that.
Yes.
Just vicariously.
Right, to get you kind of out of your bubble and into different things,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and like you said,
Influences.
Deborah, you can have a really solid foundation at home, and there's just certain things you are
Yes.
not going to hear from
Yeah,
your
exactly.
parents.
And there's certain ages where you can't hear from them.
So,
What is it, 8
solid
through 20?
foundation
Yeah.
or not, sometimes you just need a little help from outside.
Yeah, I'm Auntie Deborah to Dr. Jeremy and Sarah's kids.
Thank heavens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all need that, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yep.
So you mentioned the other couple, what was the thing you said that Ryan needs because his hamstrings are so tight?
Tempering.
So what is tempering? What are some of the other things that you have there?
It's an interesting dynamic because it actually increases blood flow to these muscle tissues
Mhm.
that have, because intrinsically they get these adhesions,
Right.
and the tempering, it's weighted, so it actually breaks up the adhesions, but it also introduces deep blood into the muscle.
Okay.
So it's restorative.
Got it.
And Dr. Ross has done work on a bunch of my bodybuilding patients,
Mhm.
and the functional improvement is dramatic.
Interesting.
Incredible. Yeah.
And we are a pediatric practice as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we have a lot of young babies and newborns, and that's all the doctors do everything,
Mhm.
but that's Dr. Stephanie's expertise, and she works with a lot of birthing centers and
Sure.
does a lot with them, and she's kind of known as the pediatric newborn, and they
Mhm.
just had a baby less than a year ago.
Oh,
So
sweet.
she's that piece of our practice, even though all doctors in our clinic can do everything and they're all amazing. They've kind of specialized a little bit, and so
Yeah.
that's been fun to watch and see.
Yeah, I remember our nanny, we had a nanny when our oldest was real young, and then she went and had a baby. And I think when he was about a year old, he was really fussy. And she just ended up having chiropractic done on him when he was about a year old. And he was awesome after that. She goes, I felt so bad. He probably had a headache for like the first year of his life. No wonder he's so fussy.
Biggest trauma you'll ever go through is birth.
Yeah.
Yes,
Think
for
about it.
sure. Yeah. For the mother, but as also
Start.
the baby,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
You assume just
definitely.
because they're all wiggly and pliable that it's
Yeah.
all good. Not always.
Yeah, so the clinic has all the pregnancy cushions, and we, take care of the
Mhm.
moms, and we have pregnancy massage, and, we take care of the mom, and then obviously the babies when the
Yeah.
parents, they trust us, and they hand over a newborn. It's pretty special.
It is. That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. Very cool. What else should people know about chiropractic that you don't think? Like, what's a misconception about chiropractic or something they should know?
I just think that I like what you said earlier about finding that person.
Mhm.
I just got a text message before we came in here
Mhm.
about somebody's referring somebody who had a bad experience, and I'm like, well, that is part of getting to know each other and
Right.
learning to trust and that kind of stuff. I think that's the toughest part that I've boiled it down to over the years. Is there's that trust factor, and we're pretty good at getting to know people and
Mhm.
and helping them to earn their trust, and so I think that's a big thing. Again, there is a difference. There's a spectrum of how people practice, right?
Sure.
And again, we're very middle of the road.
Mhm.
We don't do any razzle dazzle. We don't do any. There's nothing. I don't know. Woohoo about what we do.
Sure.
So
I think that's why we've been able to be in the community for
Yes.
20 years.
For sure.
Very consistent. I mean, we had a 20-year anniversary party, and we had so many people and they said, I've been here over, those 20,
The whole time.
there are 30-year-olds that were children
Yeah.
in our
Oh, my
clinic. I was
goodness.
sitting there just beyond, it was unbelievable that so many people are still involved in the practice. Now, they don't have to come every day.
Right.
They might come once a month. They understand the maintenance part of
Mhm.
chiropractic and the preventative, but they're still around. And they
Yeah.
have families, and we have a growing tree in our clinic painted.
Yeah.
And the kids came in, the 30-year-olds now looking at where
Mhm.
they had grown and their little lines on our tree and taking pictures with the tree. And it's just really special to be somewhere for 20 years and hopefully another 20.
Yeah, that speaks a lot to what you have created. I mean, to do something and have people going for that long, you've got to be not only good at what you do, but you've got to be good at the relationship part of it and really making people feel
I
comfortable.
had one on Thursday who I actually used the technique, the baby was breech, with mom to turn the baby.
Oh, wow.
And that baby drove to my clinic on Thursday.
Oh my
She just got a
goodness.
driver's license.
That's awesome.
That freaked me out quite a bit.
We're really not supposed to be aging ourselves that much.
Yeah, you look amazing. by the way.
That was one of those moments where you just stand there and go, oh my word.
Yeah.
This
That's
is,
gotta feel really good though. I mean,
it's powerful.
that is
It's really-
hugely
Absolutely.
powerful.
The
And, yeah.
best part of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is the beauty of something like chiropractic too. Like you said, you can kind of, it's always there for you. And you can kind of move in and out of it as you need it, you know, with where you're at in your life, you know, and what you've got going on with your body and stuff like that.
I think one of the funniest things people always say is, I don't know if I'm going to start. I've heard once you go, you have to go forever. And I always found that really interesting. And I said, well, you don't have to go forever every day or every week or every month.
Uh-huh.
But I think once you feel your body at that optimum level,
Right.
you don't want to go down again.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not you're addicted and the bones, like it's not what people think it is.
Right.
It's that your body likes feeling that good and at that level.
Totally. And life happens, right? I had it happen. I was flying home on Thursday night and I went to put my suitcase in the overhead compartment and it totally tweaked my shoulder. I got it like halfway up and it was stuck. Unfortunately, the guy next to me. But you know, life just happens, right? So it's, I think people get confused with the whole, you know, oh, you went to, like, we all want it to be a one and, we want everything to be one and done, right? Like, I do this thing, I eat vegetables one time, and I'll be on my goal weight for forever, right? It doesn't
Right.
really work that way.
And that's part of our teaching too.
Yeah.
Again, it's not about one and done.
Right.
It is about
It's
one
about
of
a process.
One of the football players that I worked with a long time ago, he made the comment that you know, his multi-million-dollar contract is he can get it if he's like even just a scotch better than the next guy.
Yeah.
And so
It's whatever
anytime
your edge
there's
is.
there's if there's an advantage, you've got to use it, and it translates to all parts of life. If
Yeah,
you're more
exactly.
focused with your kids, you're going to raise a good family. If you're not, you know, suffering at work, you're going to be better at your job.
That's awesome. Yeah, I so believe that. Thank you for joining us today. You guys are awesome. Again, we've had Dr. Deborah and Dr. Jeremy with Kirkland Life Chiropractic on the show. We'll have all the information on the website, NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nicole.
Yeah.